Hello, my name is Richard Stevenson. I'm with Driven Leadership Consulting. Driven is a global leadership development firm. We work with organizations from across the globe to train and develop their personnel to be more effective leaders. The following video is partnered to our training manual that we use to train our consultants to be able to develop and train leaders. The consultants we hire have extensive leadership experience and are able to draw from that experience when working with customers. But experience is limited, however, in that much of much of our consultants' leadership experience is within a single culture. Because leading effectively in different cultures and environments can require different strategies. We developed this manual using more than 60 different studies and works of research from a wide variety of cultures and industries to develop leaders to really identify and develop the leadership strategies that work across cultures. This allows our consultants to be able to lean on this manual and use it as a core guide to developing leaders in really any environment. So without further ado, here is a video overview of our cross-cultural leadership development manual. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Wire, and I will be discussing how to apply leadership principles to accomplish goals. Every successful organization is going to have effective leadership. Um, and they're going to use leadership principles, different ones depending on the organization or industry. One of the most common and I think effective leadership principles is transformational leadership. And that involves the leader having a clear vision that is communicated and supported by their followers. This helps everyone have a better understanding of where they're going and what they're all working towards. So nobody's working in circles. And number two, encouraging two-way communication between yourself and your followers. When they're not afraid to speak up, it gives you more insight as to who they are and a better understanding of what they need. It also helps you identify problems quicker because they're not afraid to come to you with them. And they give you their opinions, which they're working at ground zero a lot of times, and so they have a better understanding of maybe how to solve a problem. And when you take their perspective into consideration in decision making, it helps them feel more empowered and heard. And when people feel like people care about them, they work harder and are more invested in the organization because they feel the organization is invested in them. And this helps achieve goals faster. People feel valued and empowered. Um, and that is pretty much it. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Carmela Siganolfi, and today I'm going to talk to you briefly about emotional intelligence and how it can be effective in the workplace. Now, when we think of leaders, we think of people who are smart and reliable, those that can absorb information and retain it forever. Now, if you think of those folks, how many of them were effective leaders in your mind? Studies have gone back through the last few decades showing that your IQ level has nothing to do with how effective a leader you can be. Emotional intelligence has many facets. Mostly it is knowing how to control your emotions. Are you empathetic? Can you handle conflict resolution? Are you inspiring others? Emotional intelligence is, in my opinion, one of the better traits to have as a leader. The term emotional intelligence is actually back from ancient Greece. I believe Socrates is the one that said that our emotions impact and sometimes lead our behaviors in determining what we do and how we act. Emotional intelligence isn't something new. It's just something now that we have come to recognize as the next step in effective leadership. Emotional intelligence is the ability to handle tough situations, but at the same time, you're still projecting your self confidence and self control. Not all situations in a workplace are roses and butterflies. There's going to be tough times. And as an emotional, intelligent leader, you have to know when and where to express those emotions. There are times when it can be present in front of a group, or it needs to be behind closed doors. So being able to decipher those two things is an effective leader.
Hello, my name is Danielle and I'm going to be presenting Section 3 of our Leadership Manual. Section 3 goes over power dynamics and organizational politics, and it examines the effect that they have on organizational growth. We must understand organizational politics and power dynamics in the workplace in order to identify the negative effect that they have on the environment and the growth of the organization. Leaders must ensure that they are able to identify and handle these instances in order to provide the team with a more fair, ethical, and productive environment. Organizational politics have a negative effect on the human relations of the organization. They can negatively impact relationships by causing the team member who was persuaded to feel uncomfortable in the situation, and they may also lose trust for the other team member. Organizational politics are also harmful to the human relations of the organization and could cause major harm to the relationships between team members. Organizational politics go against the morals and the values of the organization, which is dangerous as the values and morals of the organization set a standard of behavior for the rest of the team. If team members behave unethically, this may set a bad example for other team members and even influence them to also participate in organizational politics. Leaders must ensure that the team members practice good ethics in order to prevent a bad reputation for the company as well as harmful scandals. Power is another concept that negatively affects organizational growth that should be examined. We should examine the power structure in order to identify instances of misuse of power or harmful leadership styles. For example, coercion is used to persuade others with force and can create hostility in the environment. Leaders must encourage members to report unethical behavior in order to reduce and manage these occurrences.
Hi, my name is Amy Rushner. Today I'm going to be presenting organizational learning strategies. First, I'm going to cover environmental dynamics. The world is changing and evolving in so many ways and in such a fast pace that it's important for every leader to be flexible and be willing to change. Effective leaders can use methods and strategies to help each person adapt to new ways. Exploring new ideas can help us solve new problems that may arise in the future. It can help each person grow individually, and it also means creating a positive environment for people to learn and grow effectively. The second thing I'm going to cover is performance evaluation. Effective leaders evaluate each person's work performance equally. This time consists of achieving goals and influence other people to meet their goals and help reach their full potential. Recognizing the areas of improvement that need attention and recognizing the areas that are excel. Taking the time to help each person build on the areas that need help. Effective leaders evaluate performance honestly, and this helps build the demotivation process that keeps everybody moving forward. The third thing I'm going to cover is productive engagement. Effective leaders create influence among every single group. Everyone involved has to be active in the process, and there has to be communication. Effective leaders use each person differently and their unique styles to take to their advantages to help each person grow. This brings new experiences and new ideas to the picture with new knowledges and new skill sets. And these all help improve the quality. Productive engagement also means open-minded and being acceptable to new experiences and new perspectives that may come forward. Last, I'm going to cover peer coaching. This is the focus of development needs of each person. It increases personal performance. It helps build and change on behaviors and negative experiences and negative poor behaviors. This involves one-on-one sessions of dedicated time for clear, precise feedback. Peer coaching also insists of it is only the effective not only the effective strategy, but there's also many others.
Hello everyone, Carmela Siganolfi here again. This time I'd like to talk to you briefly about ethical negotiation strategy. Now, while that's a mouthful to say, it's not something that should be super intimidating. Not every negotiation strategy is a lambs versus lions scenario. You know the one I'm talking about. The big corporate boardroom with the long table in between, and you have your lambs on one side and lions on the other, and it's just going to be a bloodbath. It's not how it always is. Negotiations can be something simple. They can be discussing with your family what you're going to have for dinner. It could be a general conversation you have with your boss about that corner office you kind of want. What you've got to make sure you're doing as a leader is making sure that the person doing the negotiations for your organization are the right ones for the job. These people need to have their values and their beliefs and principles follow those of the organization. That's a huge thing. You have to be a person that is confident with your company. You need to be knowledgeable about the topic that you're going to be discussing. Not every negotiation is 100% for both sides. There's always a little give and take. But what you've got to do as a negotiator is you have to ensure that you are still following the guidelines and ethics and beliefs of your company and yourself. The decisions you make today in a 1-hour meeting could potentially impact those for the rest of their lives. So go into each one of those meetings with the confidence, with the knowledge that you can make the right decision. Plan. You need to plan, my friends. Strategic planning is very important. You have to know what you're going to do in the face of opposition. I don't know of one negotiation where you just go in, here's my offer, and they accept. There's always going to be terms that you have to go back and forth on. But that person that's handling your organization's negotiations is going to be able to make those tough decisions in the face of that pressure. I'll leave you with this. Emotional intelligence requires understanding and practice. Not everyone is born with that gift. However, it is something that you can develop over time. So good luck. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of our presentation.
Hello, my name is Richard Stevenson, and I'm going to be discussing the conflict management process and really the things that leaders should take into consideration when dealing with conflict or in conflict scenarios or trying to resolve conflict. Managing and resolving conflict is a big part of a leader's job and is something that leaders will likely have to deal with on an almost day-to-day basis. So it's important that leaders are handling these situations, in a fair and productive way, and really are emotionally intelligent when doing so. Being emotionally intelligent is really at the core of how effective and objective a leader can resolve conflicts. Recognizing the emotions that arise within oneself and how those can affect a situation, as well as the emotions that arise in other people. It helps to identify what people are really after and how they feel about a situation. Emotionally intelligent people can use that kind of information to direct the situation down a path that is productive and ultimately that leads to resolving the conflict. Leaders should also try to create an environment, a collaborative environment. It's hugely important for resolving conflicts. Making negotiations part of the conflict resolution process, so that making sure that the ideas and the perspectives of each side are heard. A collaborative environment is really the ultimate way to resolve a conflict. You increase the likelihood of an outcome being a win-win scenario. Where both sides are happy with the outcome and leave the quote-unquote table feeling satisfied and like they weren't taken advantage of. Business-related conflicts that arise in organizations, it's very important that organizations have procedures in place to handle these kind of conflicts. So if you imagine like a sales team on one side and a marketing team on another side, and they're working on the same project, but they can't agree on how to get something done. It's very important that organizations handle these type of situations, so that because if they don't, there's a chance that nothing could get done because no one can agree on how to do it. So whether it's a some sort of board hearing or just a supervisor hearing or even like a town hall type of meeting, having a policy in place so that these types of issues get dealt with in a consistent and a timely manner is very important, so that these kind of issues don't stall the progress or growth of an organization. Really, conflict management is such an in-depth topic, and anyone in a leadership position should really look further into the research as far as strategies and techniques for managing and resolving conflicts, especially when designing and implementing formal conflict resolution procedures, for those business type conflicts that I mentioned. But overall, the guidelines are pretty simple. It should for leaders, just remain objective, encourage negotiation, encourage everyone's voices to be heard, everyone's thoughts and perspectives to be heard, and just really trying to create that collaborative environment that is most likely to lead to those win-win scenarios, which should be the goal of every conflict resolution process. So that's what I got. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Wire, and I will be discussing team building strategies with you today. When teams are created, they typically go through stages, and those stages are the forming, storming, norming, performing, and sometimes the adjourning stage. Research has shown, though, that when leaders implement team building strategies in the very beginning, in the forming stages, and implement them throughout every level of development, the result is way better performing teams. They're more successful, they're more productive, they're happier, and they're more cohesive. A huge reason is because team building encourages communication and trust from the beginning. It also helps open different ways of a communication. Sometimes in team building activities you can't always speak, so it forces you to think outside of the box with your teammates. Also, team building exercises, they can help you get a better perspective of your team member. Some long-term examples or long-term team building exercises are things like switching roles within the group. And this helps team members get a better understanding of what their teammate does for the group, and gives them a better appreciation for what they do, and what they go through in that position. I think a lot of times when I know I've been guilty of it, we see somebody and we're like, oh, you can do it better, and you get into it and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm drowning, because you didn't really have a good understanding or a good perception of what that really took. And I think team building helps team members really get a good perception and a good understanding of one another and what it takes to fill that position in the role. And so I really think that team building should be implemented whenever you can, whether it be short term, long term, use it. The advantages far outweigh the time and energy it takes to do them. So thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Amy Rushner. Today I'm going to be covering cross-cultural communications. First, I'm going to start with value diversity. Effective leaders have to take the time to get to know each person individually so that they can truly understand the differences that arise from where they came from and their background. This gives them the opportunity to actually appreciate their values. We have to understand the do's and the don'ts that arise from working with cross-cultural groups. Effective leaders need to use their differences to their advantages so they can help each person grow individually. There are different perceptions that come about, like different perceptions of time and different perceptions of especially work habits. But these have to be considered. There has to be tolerance upon diverse groups. The next thing I'm going to cover is collaboration. The process of a group of people that are communicating effectively so that they can exchange information, either knowledge or anything that the topic matters. This gives people the opportunity to learn from their mistakes. It creates opportunity for other people to also learn. Collaboration means to focus on possibilities rather than the problem. This gives people the ability to work together and to form new ideas and new ways to use these new ideas and these new outlooks to help others create the possibilities. Collaboration involves communicating effectively. The next thing I'm going to cover is continuous improvement. Effective leaders use a variety of organizational learning strategies to help each person become more effective over time. The more practice and the more natural that these qualities become, the better. This process consists of admitting to our mistakes so that we can learn from our mistakes and so that we can grow from these experiences. This also consists of setting goals with the correct time frames that can help each person encourage the growth. The last thing that I'm going to cover is communicating effectively. Each leader has to be able to communicate effectively. They use the communication process so that they can communicate with other people that may not understand where they are coming from. This is a very fragile situation because it can be affected in so many ways. Effective communication not only is effective, but it also helps avoid conflict. And this can also help people solve issues at first hand. Communication process has to be valued, and not only does it have to be valued, but it consists of active listening. In order to be able to communicate effectively, effective leaders need to make sure that everybody in the organization is working together, using organizational learning strategies to become better than what they once were.
Section 9 of our manual discusses coaching team members. Effective leadership is essential to coaching team members, as leaders have a major impact on the morale, the motivation, and the development of the team. Leaders have the responsibility of coaching their team and encouraging development within the team in order to reach the goals of the organization. Team development can be practiced through various activities and exercises. These team development exercises help the team to work together cohesively and communicate effectively. Communication is essential to the team as it allows the members to work together without getting confused, and it also prevents conflict between team members. Conflict within the team can be problematic as it wastes time and lowers productivity. Conflict not only wastes time for the people involved in the conflict, but it also wastes the time of the managers involved. Conflict also creates negative relationships between the team members and may even also cause a negative relationship with that team member for the rest of their time working together. Conflict also degrades the cohesiveness of the team, not allowing the team to work together as smoothly and harmoniously as they were before. Leaders must also encourage the development of innovation within the team, Innovation is very beneficial to the team as it produces quality ideas and methods. Innovation gives a team a sustainable competitive advantage and allows them to be able to better handle and adapt to change. Teams need innovation as it allows them to adapt to changes in the industry. As the industries are always constantly changing, it's essential that the team members are able to move with this quick-paced environment. By encouraging the development of innovation within the team, the leaders are ensuring that the company is able to reach success through the long term, being able to handle the changes in the environment and to come up with new ideas and methods that will be able to allow the organization to handle these changes.
Hello again, it's Richard Stevenson, and this time I'm going to be discussing decision making. Decision making is obviously a big part of a leader's job. If you think about anything that goes on in an organization can really be related back to a decision a leader made at one time or another. So leaders need to understand the impact of their decisions and how those decisions might affect the organization, the people in the organization, or, sometimes a leader's decisions can impact the whole world. And so leaders need to understand this, and really understanding this paints a picture of how important it is for leaders to critically think through and make the most informed decisions possible, whether it's impact on a product or whether it's impact on a person's emotions. Being emotionally intelligent is a big part of making decisions, and whether it's emotions that arise within the leader themselves, like say anger. If a leader's angry, it's important for them to recognize that while they're angry, it's probably not a good idea to make a decision, and that it might be best to take a walk or sleep on it or just come back to the situation at a different time to make the most effective and productive and objective decision. And then emotional intelligence on the other side of the coin is understanding how your decisions are going to impact other people's feelings. So, there's sentiments in business where it's like things like it's strictly business or it's just a business decision. And while the sentiment of these ideas these phrases ring true because there are hard decisions in an organization or in business, the reality is effective leaders consider the impact their decisions have on the emotions and the feelings of others. If not, it leads to incohesion and a communication problems amongst the team if team members think that leaders are just not considerate at all of their emotions. So that's important to take into account. And back to kind of the critically thinking, making the most informed decision possible sometimes takes getting perspectives from other people, and oftentimes should, to make the most effective decisions, whether that's the perspectives of your team, whether that's perspectives from other people in the organization that may have experience with something, or even expert consultants or third-party perspectives really can be super valuable in making the most effective decisions. And on the involving the team in the decision-making process has been shown to increase productivity, engagement from team members, and really overall job satisfaction of team members increases when they're involved in the decisions and they feel like their voice is heard. And really, this kind of thing the more perspectives involved in a decision, the greater chance of innovation. So getting different perspectives can illuminate a way that a leader may not see, or can really just shed a whole new light on how to do something in a completely different way that may be totally innovative and could change the world. So getting multiple perspectives, making informed decisions, and really understanding the impact of a leader's decision are the important things for leaders making effective decisions and really making decisions that lead to a more productive and growing organization. So that's what I got on that. Thanks.